Let's be brutally honest. Being nice doesn't get you the girl. It doesn't earn you respect. It doesn't make you unforgettable. What it does is put you on the fast track to being overlooked, used, and eventually forgotten. Because here's the truth, no one tells you. Women don't fall for the guy who tries the hardest. They fall for the guy who understands how attraction really works. The guy who doesn't need approval to feel worthy. The guy who doesn't perform kindness to earn affection, but moves with quiet confidence because he knows who the hell he is. Now let's get one thing straight. There's nothing wrong with being respectful or compassionate. But when nice becomes your strategy, when it's your default way of trying to be liked, you're not being kind. You're being manipulative. You're hoping that if you're soft enough, agreeable enough, giving enough, eventually she'll choose you. But that's not desire. That's pity. And women don't sleep with pity. They sleep with strength, with direction, with certainty. And that starts the moment you stop trying to be chosen and start becoming someone worth choosing. Look at the typical nice guy behavior. He listens endlessly, never disagrees, always offers help, even when it's not wanted. He gives gifts too early, responds instantly, prioritizes her over everything, even if they just met. On the surface, it looks sweet, but underneath, it's desperate. It screams, "Please like me. Please validate me. Please don't leave." And whether she says it out loud or not, she feels it. And once a woman senses that your kindness is rooted in fear, she stops trusting it. She doesn't respect it because real desire doesn't grow from someone trying to win you over. It grows from someone who doesn't need to. That's the cold part. Now let's get deeper. Women are drawn to polarity, opposing energies, masculine and feminine, masculine, direction and emotion, grounded presence versus emotional movement. When you remove your masculine edge by always playing it safe, by avoiding disagreement, by being constantly available, you kill the polarity. You flatten the tension. And without tension, there's no spark. That's why the same guy she calls so sweet is the one she ghosts the next week because he never triggered that deeper part of her, the one that craves intensity, leadership, and depth. It's not about being toxic. It's about being real. Let me explain this with something you've seen 100 times. A guy meets a woman he likes. He thinks the best move is to be harmless, so he suppresses his opinions. He agrees with everything. He avoids flirting too boldly. He listens, waiting for some invisible checkpoint where his kindness will finally get rewarded. But it never comes. And he's left asking, why do women always choose the jerk? But here's the twist. She didn't choose a jerk. She chose the man who wasn't afraid to show desire, to challenge her, to set boundaries. That guy may not have been nice, but he was real. And in a world full of guys hiding behind fake niceness, realness is magnetic. Now, let's zoom in even further. When a man has no spine, no direction, no sense of self, he becomes emotionally weightless, a leaf in the wind. He adjusts to whatever he thinks will make her happy in the moment. And at first she might tolerate it, but over time something starts to build, resentment, because she feels the pressure of being the leader, the emotional guide, the decision maker, and that dynamic slowly kills her desire. She doesn't want to mother you. She wants to admire you. She doesn't want to lead you. She wants to feel led. And if you can't offer that energy, the connection dies. Not because you were too nice, but because you weren't enough of a man. Here's where it gets serious. The moment you let your self-worth become dependent on someone else's attention, you give up your power. And that's what most nice guys do. They wait for women to validate their identity. They wait for someone to confirm that they're good enough. And because of that, they attract partners who are drawn to control, not connection. You don't get loyalty when you overgive. You get users, you get situationships, you get stories that end with, "I just don't feel that way about you," even though you did everything right. So let me ask you, what's better? Being liked for a version of you that isn't real, or being respected, even if it means some people walk away? Here's what makes a man unforgettable. He owns his presence. He speaks with intention. He's not afraid to walk away from anyone who disrespects his standards. He doesn't bend over backward for attention. He doesn't negotiate with disrespect. He doesn't confuse attraction with performance. And because of that, he commands attention without needing to demand it. You want to be that man. Start by setting boundaries that scare you a little. Say no when you mean it. Stop chasing people who don't show genuine interest. And for God's sake, stop treating women like queens before they've earned the crown. That's not confidence. It's insecurity in disguise. You're not proving your worth by overextending. You're showing that you don't believe you have any worth unless someone else gives it to you. Let's go deeper again. When you embrace discomfort, when you lean into your truth instead of trying to smooth things over, that's when you become dangerous in the best way. Because now you're not afraid to lose people. You're not afraid of awkward silences. You're not afraid to call out inconsistency. You stop asking, what do I need to do to keep her? And you start asking, is this woman aligned with the life I'm building? That shift changes everything. You go from being someone she can manipulate to someone she respects. Now here's the part that most people won't tell you. When you stop being nice in the approval-seeking way, some people will fall away. That's normal. That's the filter doing its job. Because the people who only like the soft, compliant version of you weren't real connections. They were just passengers who liked the free ride. But once you start speaking your truth, setting standards, and walking with clarity, something powerful happens. The ones who should be in your life will meet you at that level. No games, no confusion, just genuine attraction rooted in mutual respect. So let's tie it all together. This isn't about it's about becoming a man who doesn't need to contort himself to be liked. A man who leads with integrity, not people-pleasing. A man who gives but doesn't overgive. Who listens but also speaks. Who cares but doesn't lose himself in the process. That's the man women chase. That's the man people remember. And that's the man you were meant to be. Because the truth is, attraction doesn't start with how you treat her. It starts with how you treat yourself. When you hold yourself to a higher standard, when you choose self-respect over approval, when you stop performing and start embodying your truth, that's when the game changes. So if you've ever been ghosted, friend-zoned, or strung along despite doing everything right, it's not because you are too nice. It's because you were never real. Now imagine this. The next time you meet someone, you don't try to impress. You don't overthink your words. You show up as you are, grounded, clear, director, and instead of trying to earn her attention, you observe whether she's worth yours. That's the power shift. That's the edge. And once you tap into that, you stop chasing. You start attracting. And the ones who are meant for you will feel it instantly. In the next video, we'll break down the subtle psychological signals that instantly trigger emotional attraction and how most men completely miss them. So if you're done with the games, the waiting, the confusion, hit subscribe because the next part might just change the way you look at women and yourself.